Alright, I'm sorry I haven't answered other questions I was planning to get to first. Things have been a bit difficult around because Mikey was sick, and today's the first day he's left the house, so the house is a little bit more quiet. Anyway, I just thought I'd get onto this one because it's kind of relevant today, and you can kind of tell I'm not doing well. I can't even be bothered to set up my lights properly. Anyway, so this question comes from Jethro X. Sometimes your comments are. Anyway, no, this one. So, let's say you've lived with mental illness for 15 plus years and been in and out of therapy to a point now you probably know how they are going to treat you, and logically you probably know just about everything about schizoid, spelt wrong, and you've been to the petrol station and nothing bad happened because you coped. You also know your environment has impact. So I'm thinking you're now become an expert in knowing about yourself. So can you now logically think your way out of your illness? No, that's not how it works. Um, if it was that easy, I wouldn't be so messed up. It turns out I've got quite severe complex mental illness. And, the thing about YouTube is I mostly only make YouTube videos when I'm doing well enough to be able to make one. Otherwise, maybe I'm not going to. Today, I'm not doing well. And what happened, I think I'm really tired and worn out and drained. A lot of it's to do with the dog. Like, he's been good for me in some ways, but also now my whole sleep pattern has had to shift to hours that are not natural to me. So I usually get to bed before midnight. Last night I struggled. I was in bed at midnight, but I wasn't sleeping. I didn't have interrupted sleep last night, so I actually slept through until 6-ish. Whereas, lately I've had a few, either like the night before I didn't sleep well for half the night. And then the 2 nights before that I woke up in the middle at some point. But today, no, I slept through. But then, did Trenton's morning routine and then came back and he was napping, and we were both napping, but he didn't nap for long enough. So maybe only about an hour, and I really needed the sleep this morning, and so when he woke me up, I just did not cope at all. And that's not something you can think your way out of. That's physical stuff. That's my body and my brain physically not getting enough sleep. And, it's called mental illness, but it's not just in your mind. Like, your mind is your body, your brain is part of your body. And so there are, especially for severe mental illness, there's a lot of physical stuff that goes on, like having no energy. Having no energy is a physical thing. Things connect in your body more. So it's not as simple as just thinking your way out of shit. But yeah, so what did I do? I let him out. He did his business. I tried to lie on the lawn with him. I put some pillows out. But he kind of just came at me and it wasn't relaxing. And I started to have the breakdown proper. And, I think he was probably trying to cheer me up a little bit, but he's just sort of buffing my face instead. And he did sit with me for a bit after, he sort of realized I wasn't going to get up and play, and what he was doing wasn't cheering me up. But yeah, I just sort of realized I just needed to get to sleep. I think Dad saw the start of my breakdown as well. So, I packed up the pillows and I went to get Triton a treat so I could put him in his crate. And as I was doing that, he came at my face again. So, there's a few times he came at my face, which was too much for me today. While I was in bed, he came and, buffed me on the lip. And I already have a mouth ulcer there, and it was just, I thought I was going to end up with a scratch on my chin. He gave me a scratch up here the other day. It's already gone. Which, I know there's dog training stuff where you just don't give them the opportunity to do that stuff, but, there's only so much I can handle. And then the second time he boofed me in the face was when I was lying out on the grass, because, obviously I was within his reach. And then the third time as well, I was at the treat cupboard and he came and boofed me in the face. And that third one, I was like, I started crying. I was already kind of sobbing before, but I was like crying more. And so Dad, distracted him. I think Dad was pretty surprised to see how badly I was doing, because I seem like I'm doing okay when I'm looking after the dog, but that's sort of like dog mum mode, and then there's still the rest of my shit behind that, and it's just like, I guess this is part of a dissociation thing, possibly. Like, dog mum mode is its own thing, and then, but it doesn't, like, it's just one part of me, and then the rest of me still has issues. And so, today, dog mum mode wasn't enough. So, yeah, and then I, put Triton in his crate. And I think Mum's home. I don't know if she's let him out yet. Dad had to go out. So I just went back to bed. I have warm socks on today, and they've got like little things on the bottom so you don't slip, because in bed my feet just would not warm up. And I've got the aircon on heating mode, and then I also put the Dyson on heating, and I just couldn't get my feet warm, so I've got warm fuzzy socks. And yeah, but I didn't really sleep, so I just rested, and I'm doing better after resting, and I haven't gone out yet. I'm just like taking me time. I set my alarm so that I'd have 2 hours before I go out and check on him, because he should be able to cope with that. He hasn't been napping enough lately either. I mean, our routine the past 2 days has been a bit all over the place. But also, I don't know, he doesn't know how to nap, and I have to help him nap. Anyway, that's like dog stuff. Yeah, it's just struggling today, not coping well. I think also yesterday there were a lot of interruptions in his evening nap as well, so I didn't get to do things like watch Xena, which I finally started doing again. Also because of... So yesterday I went back to the psychologist. So, the first psychologist I saw after I got the schizoid diagnosis, that's who I've gone back to. I can talk about that later if people care. But, she's better than the one I was just seeing. And cheaper too. And a bit more interested in the dissociation, because that's something I don't quite have a handle on. So when you say an expert in knowing about myself, not really. The thing about people with mental illness is often we don't have the full view. We might think we have the full view, and we certainly have a full view of like what our thoughts are, but that doesn't mean we know what's causing it. It doesn't mean we know how to solve it. So there's that part of your question. Let me get back to the rest of the question. Yeah, so with therapy, yes, I did get to a point where I know generally what they're going to do, especially with CBT, because that's how you would treat standard depression. But schizoid depression does seem to be different. We don't have the same problems. So the same things that they tell us don't often work. And, medication didn't work, so I don't see a psychiatrist anymore. But the thing is, yeah, I've been to therapy a lot and I know what they're going to say, but has any of that helped? Have they figured out a way to fix me? No. So if they haven't figured it out, and if I know what they're going to say, I'm just going to, I can predict what they're going to say. It's just going to be stuff that doesn't help. Does that make sense? And me having one day where I go to a petrol station and fill up and do okay, that's one day. That's not me fixing my life. It's just like, okay, when I am doing well, turns out on that day when I'm doing well, I'm able to go and do that. But on days like today where I'm really fucked up, no. And, because I've had to have this nap, the whole routine of today has been fucked again. So that's 3 days, I think, where the routine's fucked. Because usually it's like 2 hours of trying being awake and then 2 hours of nap, and it sort of alternates throughout the day. And I have sort of worked out a bit of a routine about that. But instead today, it's a mess. The specifics don't matter. It's a mess. So, yeah, there's a lot more to it than just what this comment is saying, and there's a lot more to it than just thinking about things. There's physical aspects. Yes, the environment has impact, and I can't do anything about my environment. So if I can't change an environment that has led me here, I can't fix those issues, so I still have those issues as well. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers this. I'm sure I could ramble in more detail, but I'm exhausted. I'm not coping today. Yeah. And yeah, I don't just have schizoid. I've also got depression and some sort of dissociation issues. We haven't really decided if that has a specific label. Anyway, I might leave it there because I gotta get dressed because I gotta take him for a walk. Alright, bye.